Stewardship means that leaders are guardians and curators of organizational resources and values. They place the long-term interests of the organization first. As stewards, leaders empower followers to make decisions and have control over how they do their own jobs. 4 principles provide the framework for stewardship. Adopt a partnership mindset. Partnership can happen only when power and control shift away from the formal leaders to core employees. As partners, leaders and followers are totally honest with one another, jointly responsible for defining vision and purpose, and mutually accountable for outcomes that benefit the whole. Give decision-making power and the authority to act to those closest to the work and the customer. This means reintegrating the managing and the doing of work so that everyone becomes a leader and is also doing some of the core work of the organization. Nobody gets paid simply to plan and manage the work of others. Tie rewards to contributions rather than formal positions. With stewardship, everyone's fortunes are connected to the success of the enterprise. Stewardship involves redistributing wealth while designing compensation so that people can make significant gains when they make exceptional contributions. Expect core work teams to build the organization. Teams of employees define goals, maintain controls, create a nurturing environment, and organize and reorganize themselves to respond to a changing environment in the marketplace. Stewardship leaders guide the organization without dominating it and facilitate followers without controlling them. Stewardship gives followers a chance to use their minds, bodies, and spirits on the job, thereby allowing them to be whole human beings. Servant leadership takes stewardship assumptions about leaders and followers one step further. Servant leadership is leadership upside down. The servant leaders transcend self-interest to serve the needs of others, help others grow and develop, and provide opportunity for others to gain materially and emotionally. Servant leadership was first described by Robert Greenleaf in his book, Servant Leadership. There are 4 basic principles in Greenleaf's model. Put service before self-interest. In this view, the organization exists as much to provide meaningful work to the person as the person exists to perform meaningful work for the organization. Listen first to affirm others. One of the servant leader's greatest gifts to others is listening authentically. Inspire trust by being trustworthy. Servant leaders build trust by doing what they say they will do, being honest, and focusing on the well-being of others. Nourish others and help them become whole. Servant leaders care about followers' spirits and believe in the unique potential of each person to have a positive impact on the world. The servant leader's top priority is service to employees, customers, shareholders, and the general public. Leadership flows out of the act of service because it enables other people to grow and become all of they're capable of being. Adam Grant has been studying the power of service to others since he was an undergraduate student at Harvard. He took a job selling advertisements for a travel guide series, but didn't do so well. When he met another student and learned that her job at the same company was essentially for paying her way through college, did he find a purpose and meaning in his work. He eventually sold the largest advertising package in the company history. Grant went on to earn a graduate degree in organizational psychology and now teaches at the Wharton School. He is the youngest tenured and highest rated professor. Grant goes far beyond the typical professor in helping students. He writes lengthy letters of recommendation for students or former students approximately 100 times a year. He provides introductions for students to influential people he knows. He answers hundreds of email messages a day from students, colleagues, and even people he doesn't know, providing information or assistance. Grant has hard data from several experiments to back up his claim that focusing on the contributions we make to improve other people's lives makes us more motivated and productive. Leaders care how employees feel about themselves, about their work, and about the people they interact with. They instill a sense of dignity, responsibility, and meaningfulness in menial tasks. Leaders sometimes have to reach deep within themselves to find the courage and strength of character to resist temptation, behave morally, or to stand up for ethical principles when others may ridicule them or when they may suffer financially or emotionally for their actions. Some would say that without courage, leadership cannot exist. However, for many leaders, particularly those working in large organizations, the importance of courage is easily obscured. The main thing is to get along, fit in, and do whatever brings promotions and pay raises. Courage is both a moral and a practical matter for leaders. Courage is the mental and moral strength to engage in, persevere through, and withstand danger, difficulty, or fear. Consider this. Is it worth the risk? To laugh is to risk appearing the fool. To weep is to risk appearing sentimental. To reach out is to risk involvement. To expose feelings is to risk exposing your true self. To place your ideas and dreams before the crowd is to risk rejection. To love is to risk not being loved in return. To live is to risk dying. To hope is to risk despair. And to try is to risk failure. But risks must be taken because the greatest hazard in life is to risk nothing. Those who risk nothing do nothing and have nothing. They may avoid suffering and sorrow, but they cannot learn, feel, change, grow, or love. Chained by their certitude, they are slaves. They have forfeited their freedom. Only one who risks is free. Many times, it isn't fear as an actual threat that holds people back, but rather fear, which stands for false evidence appearing real. This kind of fear arises not from a true threat, but from our own thoughts. This type of fear might be better termed anxiety. Courage means accepting responsibility. Leaders can make a real difference in the world when they are willing to step up and take personal responsibility. Some people just let life happen to them. Leaders make things happen. Courageous leaders create opportunities to make a difference in their organizations and communities. Leadership courage means going against the grain, breaking traditions, reducing boundaries, and initiating change. Leaders are willing to take risks for a larger ethical purpose, and they encourage others to do so as well. Most leaders initiating change find some cooperation and support, but they also encounter resistance, rejection, loneliness, and even ridicule. It's often easier to stay with what is familiar, even if it will lead to certain failure, than to initiate bold change. Courage means pushing beyond the comfort zone. To take a chance and improve things means leaders have to push beyond their comfort zone. When people go beyond the comfort zone, they encounter an invisible wall of fear. Facing the invisible wall of fear is when courage is needed the most. Leaders have to speak out to influence others. The Abilene paradox is the name Jerry Harver, author and scholar, uses to describe the tendency of people to not voice their true thoughts because they want to please others. Courage means fighting for valued outcomes that benefit the whole. Leaders take risks but they do so for a higher purpose. So how does courage apply to moral leadership? There are many people working in organizations who have the courage to be unconventional, to step up and take responsibility, and to do what they believe is right. Balancing profit with people, self-interest with service, and control with stewardship requires individual moral courage. To practice moral leadership, leaders have to know themselves, understand their strengths and weaknesses, know what they stand for, and often be nonconformists. Honest self-analysis can be painful, and acknowledging one's limitations in order to recognize the superior abilities of others takes personal strength of character. In addition, moral leadership means building relationships which require listening, having significant personal experiences with others, and making oneself vulnerable. Whistleblowing means employees' disclosure of illegal, immoral, or unethical practices in the organization. It is highly risky for employers to blow the whistle because they may lose their jobs, be ostracized by coworkers, or be transferred to an undesirable location. Most whistleblowers realize they may suffer financially and emotionally, but act courageously to do what they think is right. All people can live and act courageously. There are a number of ways that leaders can unlock the courage within themselves, including committing to causes they believe in, connecting with others, harnessing anger, and developing their skills. Believing in a higher purpose. Courage comes easily when we fight for something we really believe in. Leaders who have a strong emotional commitment to a larger vision or purpose find the courage to step through fear. Caring about others and having their support is a source of courage in a topsy-turvy world. Support for this proposition comes from studies in the civil rights movement in the southern United States. People who feel alone in the world take fewer risks because they have more to lose. Although social media such as Twitter and Facebook has made it easier for people to join with others to support social causes, for change within organizations. There is some evidence that social media actually reduces strong ties, that's deep personal connections, making it harder for people to express courage when they need it. Harness frustration and anger. Anger in moderate amounts is a healthy emotion that provides energy to move forward. The challenge is to harness anger and use it appropriately. And take small steps. In most cases within organizations, finding courage is a deliberate act rather than an instantaneous response. Courage can be thought of as a decision-making skill that is developed through conscious thought and practice. Courageous leaders are not reckless and foolhardy. They typically are people who have developed the skill and resources they need to take a difficult stand or pursue a tough course of action. In addition, courageous leaders can develop courageous followers by modeling courage in their own behavior and by helping people practice courage. Good leaders remind themselves that dealing with difficult ethical issues is a crucial part of the job.